James Mclyans for Sheriff of Pinellas County. August 5 at 12:52 p.m. My policy as Sheriff of Pinellas County would be very simple. If you wear a gun, you have a body camera, period. If a deputy does not want to wear a body camera, I have no problem with that. They can leave their gun at the station right next to the body camera. If you have the power to shoot someone, there needs to be a camera on you at all times. If one of my deputies turns off his camera before or during an incident, they will be terminated and charged with evidence tampering. This policy will stop at least 60% of deputy misconduct in Pinellas County. James Mclyans for Pinellas County Sheriff in 2020.
Oh.
Really?
Police out here shooting folks, y'all, in the house.
Oh my gosh, Jesus Christ. This is fucking crazy.
But they come over here shooting. Oh, he got a gun. That's why they shooting at his dumb ass.
Throw the gun down, son, and come out. Throw it down.
What the fuck?
Throw it down. Move the folks out the next. Police, come to the door.
Then they got other folks.
Why is you talking so loud?
They can't do shit to us.
You don't watch the fucking news, Kelsey?
They can't do
Carry
nothing
your
to
ass.
us.
Come in the house, because you going to get me shot.
Throw it down.
He's shooting out with them folk. That boy shooting out with them folk. I'm finna put this on my Instagram. I got the first video. That's crazy. Come on.
I gotta get from off over here. You hitting his gunshots? Oh my god. You don't hit his gunshots. Oh my god, mama. We looking right at it. They don't bust in these and I'm.
They don't want
Why
us.
is he talking to us like that?
I just told your ass they don't give a fuck. What? What? Y'all see how crazy the 12 is, bro? They out here shooting in this motherfucking apartment complex. In the house. Shooting in the damn house. In the damn house, dog. Look at the fake police over here hiding behind the car. What is you doing, ma'am? The action is in the building, ma'am. What the fuck?
A year ago, Jamarian Robinson ramping up its call for justice in the death of their son, who was killed almost a year ago. Jamarian Robinson was hit by 76 bullets as U.S. Marshals served an arrest warrant in East Point.
12 months later, there are still no answers as to how that arrest escalated to that point. 11 Alive's Faith Abube sat down with Jamarian's mom, and Faith, the hurt is still there, and she is determined not to give up.
Yeah, this coming Saturday will be exactly a year since Jamarian Robinson's death, and his mother now using the anniversary to call for transparency and to put even more pressure on investigators to give her answers in her son's death.
That was my baby. That was my world, you know. And people just, it's like they don't understand what I have to deal with, you know, every night.
1 year later, grief continues its tight hold on Monteria Robinson, but her focus on getting justice for her son hasn't shifted.
Why was Jamarian shot 76 times? Why did they handcuff him after, you know, his body laid there?
Questions the grieving mother thought she would have answers to by now. But at this point, the Fulton County case is virtually at a standstill.
The DA is having difficulty getting the shooters involved in my son's case to come in and give their statement.
None of the officers were wearing body cameras that day.
Oh.
The only video documenting the August 5th, 2016 shooting is from a witness.
It is troubling.
Fulton County DA Paul Howard says federal agents were trying to serve an arrest warrant for the 26-year-old at his girlfriend's house in East Point that day. They say Robinson was wanted for pointing a gun at officers and for trying to set his mother's house on fire. Robinson never got his day in court. Officers say when they showed up, he had a gun.
He had 6 bullets in the palm of his right hand. In his palm, in his left hand, he had 5 bullets. So you tell me how someone could be holding a gun.
And those were all questions that the DA says that the officers could answer. The DA did send 11 Alive a statement saying getting the federal agents to cooperate with the investigation has been, quote, time-consuming. Coming up tonight at 11, what Jamarian's mom says she found deep in the officers' personnel files that should have had them off the job that day.
All right. New this morning, a pedestrian taken to the hospital overnight after being hit by a car. Marietta police say around
when the police can snatch you out of your homes, when they can kill our children, and we show up like, hey, we can party, we show up in small numbers, or we don't show up at all, or we're fighting and we're divided in these different groups and organizations. It's gotta stop. It's gotta stop. There is no way that we're gonna win this divided. There is no way. So we have to unify. I don't care if you don't like the brother. I see now we gotta unify, brother. We got, hey.
Give that to somebody else. Okay. Give it to them to hold. Okay. Put this in your. We'll shoot it. We'll let them make that determination. Lisa, do the Facebook thing. Or you, it don't matter. Okay.
Good afternoon. We thank you all for coming. We're here on behalf of the family of Jamarian Robinson. I have with me Miss Monteria Robinson, the mother of Jamarian Robinson, as well as Danielle Wright, the family spokesperson. It has been 1 year tomorrow, August 5th, that marks the death of Jamarian Robinson to the tune of 76 shots to his body. We know now that over 90 shots were fired at him, 76 striking him, and there are still no answers that this family has been presented with. The primary issue is that the district attorney's office, after our investigation with the help of investigator Rashid McCall, uncovered issues that we were concerned about, the district attorney's office began an investigation. Unfortunately, the Federal Marshal Service has not complied with the request to turn over information, to make their officers available to be interviewed. And so without that, the investigation is incomplete. So we are going on an entire year. And I think we'd be very hard pressed to find any place in the country where it would be acceptable for law enforcement officers to use deadly force and not have to submit to the local prosecutor for questioning. We don't have any example of that, particularly with this level of force that that is, as far as we're concerned, is unprecedented, to have this number of shots fired and still no federal marshal having to sit down and answer questions from the district attorney's office, Mr. Paul Howard. On yesterday, we had an opportunity to meet with Mr. Howard. We, again, have been seeking updates. and that has been going on since the start of the case. He expressed to us a level of frustration in the lack of cooperation from the federal marshals. And so we are at a point, this family is at a point, where we have to have answers, and the only way to get those answers is to try to help dramatize for our community what is stopping a transparent investigation. And we're left with the only answer: the federal government is stopping a transparent investigation. So on tomorrow at 9:30, we're asking community members to come to this very spot here at the Fulton County Courthouse, where the District Attorney Paul Howard, his office is, and we're going to, since they will not come to him, we're going to go to them. We're going to march from the Fulton County Courthouse to the federal courthouse, the Richard Russell Building, tomorrow, again to highlight the fact, the unwillingness to travel 4 blocks and just tell the truth. If they are so confident that the force that they used was reasonable and it was in response to deadly force, then there should be no hesitation for them to come forward to provide a complete, thorough explanation as to their actions. And so that's what we're asking the community to do tomorrow. Again, we have one of the issues, and we have photographs, one of the issues that has been raised is that Jamarian Robinson had in his hand a firearm. And so the explanation given was that there had to be 76 shots from 3 different federal marshals shooting at him in order to disarm him. We have evidence through the medical examiner's office that his hands were so mangled and shot up as a result of the federal marshal shooting him, it would have been impossible for him to have and maintain a gun in his hands. And so we want them to come forward and refute the physical evidence, not just what they say happened, but the physical evidence which we have here, which is Jamarian Robinson's hands. It's impossible for him to have held a firearm with his hands under these conditions after being struck multiple times. His left hand also, but this is his right hand. And so this, again, as far as we're concerned, calls into question how they could justify saying that he had a gun in his hand, and here are the injuries to his hand. And when we met with the medical examiner was very concerned about the idea that someone with these kinds of injuries could hold a firearm in their hands. She did not believe that.
Could you recap what happened that day and why he was under investigation?
He was under investigation for 2 reasons. There was a warrant for his arrest for an altercation that he apparently had with law enforcement, allegedly had with law enforcement about a week prior. And so they had a warrant for his arrest for an aggravated assault against police. There was no shootout as it had been previously reported. That reporting has been in error. There was...
This was at the apartment parking lot.
Correct. There was some kind of confrontation that the APD officers alleged to have happened, so that he was wanted for that. He was also wanted for a issue out of Gwinnett County involving an attempted arson. He was, again, what we want to make clear is that Jamarian Robinson had recently been diagnosed with mental health issues that he and his family were working through, like families have to work through. He was a college student prior to that, and unfortunately he became paranoid, schizophrenic, and the family had to, as best they could, try to support him and work through that process.
So they discovered he was at an apartment. Take me through what happened that day.
So what happened that day is they tracked him back to the apartment of his girlfriend. They, with the assistance of the apartment complex, identify him as being in the apartment. It is our position that at that point, they could have easily contacted any of his loved ones to just communicate with him for him to surrender. Instead, they have the apartment completely surrounded, the front, the back, with all of these officers, including East Point officers, and instead of de-escalating the situation, instead of calling someone in that could talk to an individual who has mental health issues, instead, they create a confrontation. They kick in the door and they begin firing shots. And so if we know that someone with mental health issues needs to be handled in a certain way, they didn't do that. They just go in, again, guns blazing, and they leave Mr. Jamarian Robinson shot 76 times. But in addition to shooting him, after he's shot, they drag him down the stairs, they handcuff him, they leave him there. We find, thankfully, Investigator McCall from our office goes back to the scene. The GBI is supposed to be investigating it. He goes back to the scene. As he goes to where the most of the blood is pooled on the second level of the apartment, he cuts open and finds slugs that are embedded in the floor. Not as if they're shots coming from down upwards, because this is on a staircase, but they're perpendicular. They're shot directly into the floor. That concerns us. If you listen to the video, you will hear shots fired, stop, another set of shots fired, and then you will hear a final 3 shots. We have no idea why the final 3 shots, if his hands are like this, where the final 3 shots come from. They threw a flash grenade up there. The use of the flash grenade is questionable, that you would, after entering a premises, then throw a flash grenade after firing at least 60 rounds and then go back and continue shooting. This kind of force, this militarization of police, should disturb any American citizen. No one should feel comfortable if this level of force can happen on American soil, and then there'd be no accounting and there'd be no submission to the local prosecutor for questioning. We're not saying go arrest them. We're asking, give this family some answers. Come forward and state your case as to why you think 76 shots were necessary for an 150-pound, 5'6", 26-year-old man.
Can we hear from a family member?
Yes.
About that last couple shots, I've listened to the whole tape, 3.5 minutes. Because you're saying after the flash grenade, there's those last 3 bursts of shots. After investigator found those bullets, are asserting that those were shot into him as they were standing over him on top of the landing there, as he was already down in this position.
Let me make a couple of things clear. The number of shots, and we'll provide you with the medical examiner's report and the autopsy. The number of shots to his legs. As we questioned the medical examiner, she made it clear it would have been impossible with the injuries to his legs for him to still be on his feet and standing up. It's not possible. There were bones broken as a result of the shots. So we know without question he is down. We know now without question his hands are too badly mutilated for him to have a gun in it. What are the final 3 shots for? And why would anyone need to shoot directly into the floor where the pool of blood is? So those are the questions that have yet to be answered.
One other question, I mean, obviously his hands were shot during the engagement with but even before the shots are fired, they're yelling, put the gun down. So are you seeing that he did have the gun at the beginning of the altercation?
We're not conceding that he had a gun. We have in our over almost a decade of doing police-involved shootings, we will hear officers yell things that we later find out are inaccurate. We've had officers say, quit resisting, and the person is laying there and they're just punching him in the face. So we're not going to rely on what the officers, these marshals, are saying during the course of their entry to justify their use of force. We're just not going to accept that without them being questioned, and that's the issue.
And even if that was the case, there's no evidence in there, and I've seen the video from inside from his girlfriend, that he fired at officers first or even during this altercation.
We have no evidence that he fired at officers. There was a firearm recovered. And I think it's important to note the firearm that's recovered in the home, there is no damage to it. So I want people to just think logically that if I have a firearm in my hand and my hands get shot up like this, then the firearm would either be covered with blood or have defects as a result of the officer shooting the firearm, because they clearly hit his hands. The firearm, as we've observed in the photograph, had no defects. So again, that leads us to believe that there could not have been a firearm in his hand at the time that these shots were fired. And so if he is unarmed and they're continuing to shoot him, then it is our position that that is excessive force. So at this time, I'd like to have, if we could first have Ms. Danielle Wright, the spokesperson for the family speak, and then Ms. Monteria Robinson.
Good afternoon, everyone. We want to be very clear that this is a very difficult time for the family, but we also want the community to understand that we need them. We need the community to call the U.S. Marshals Northern District of Georgia and reach out to Beverly, Harvard, and demand that these officers come to the U.S. Marshal's office and give their statements. We also need the community to call community leaders, politicians, flood your leadership's office, your representatives' offices with calls, letters, demanding accountability for these officers and for law enforcement in general. It is not acceptable for law enforcement to play jury, judge, and executioner. Additionally, we need the community to continue to support the Robinson family by showing up tomorrow right here at Fulton County Courthouse for the community rally and march that does start at 9:30 a.m. Right here at the Central Avenue entrance. We thank everyone for their support, but we also want to let the community know that this incident has not broken the family. Jamarian's story will continue to live on. And in doing so, the family is determined and moving forward with plans to start a nonprofit organization, a foundation that would support financially and in other ways as a resource to families who experience incidents like this. We hope and pray that it does not happen again. But we do understand that this is not just a problem here in Georgia. This is a problem that we're seeing across the country. The Robinson family has decided to start a foundation so that when other families in need of resources for mental health and financial support for court fees, funeral fees, and the like, they can get the resources and the help that they need. So those are some of the things that, even in spite of a terrible tragedy that no mother, no family should have to experience, the strength of the family is in they want to ensure that this does not happen to anyone else. And so we still need your help. There are bills out there that are trying to be passed that would better help law enforcement identify those with mental illness and also really help reinforce the need for better training. So we ask that you again join us tomorrow at the Fulton County Courthouse Central Avenue entrance, 9:30 a.m. for the community rally and march.
Thank you. We have at this time Ms. Monteria Robinson.
Spell your name first and identify the relationship.
Okay, sure. My name is Monteria Robinson. That's M-O-N-T as in Tom, E-R-I-A. Last name is Robinson. I am Jamarian Robinson's mother.
And
First,
he was how old?
Jamarian Robinson was 26 years old.
Okay, thank you.
And I would like to state for the record that I am a U.S. citizen, and so was my son. I pay taxes, I vote. My son was treated inhumane and un-American. And also, as a fact, my son, after his death, after his killing, they showed my mother and my two brothers a photo of the person that they were actually looking for, and it was not a photo of my son, Jamarian Robinson. With that being said, we are asking the community to come out and support us. Join us in our march as we rally. We are asking for answers to so many questions. We need the community support. We need for them to join us here at Fulton County Courthouse tomorrow for the march and rally at 9:30 a.m. as we ask for transparency to the unanswered questions. I want to know why 76 bullets entered my son's body. We are at his 1-year anniversary and we still have no answers. So again, we are asking the community, please come out and join us, support us, because I don't want it to be another Monteria Robinson.
Can you talk about your meeting with Mr. Howard and how that went? And obviously he shares your frustration. It sounds like their hands are kind of tied with federal agencies.
Correct, that's true. They are waiting on them to respond to some requests that they have made, but at this time there is a delay. And you know, we will continue to push forward, my family and I, and we are demanding justice. You know, we're demanding for these questions to be answered, and we will not stop until these questions are answered.
Thank you all. We appreciate it. Again, tomorrow we will convene here. We expect community members to come out in a show of support, but also to just highlight that this was preventable. This didn't have to happen. This was a forced entry. It could have been handled a number of different ways. And anyone who has any loved one with mental health issues should just be deeply alarmed that if you have a mental health issue, that's not taken into any consideration with how law enforcement approaches and deals with you. So this is preventable. This does not have to continue happening, but we have, as a people, have to have the will to make sure that those that are elected and appointed put into place regulations that prevent this from happening. So thank you.
Did you get any timetable from Mr. Howard or any of them?
We'll say this, that if the family doesn't receive answers within the next 10 days, that the family is prepared to reach out to our congressman, Congressman Lewis, as well as Congressman Hank Johnson. We have already done a preliminary request with them, but at this point, we believe that federal elected officials will have to intervene in order to make the U.S. Marshals be responsive. That is the last hope for this family, is that federal elected officials help them make the U.S. Marshals respond. Thank you.
I got one last question that I can ask you off camera.
Okay.
Okay, all right.
Just legally, that right now, what is the
That's it. They got my purse. No.
Hey, Sheriff, we have a question about why your office, your intelligence division, is investigating private citizens for criminal investigation that happen to be activists that are overseeing your department? Why would you have your intelligence division investigate private citizens? We have done...
For life hating so much.
Sir, we don't hate anyone. We love freedom and we love American people. And government is out of control. That's why you're seeing such a revolt nationwide. Why can't you just answer, why is Susan Edwards, your intelligence division, investigating private citizens? This should not happen.
Are you here to apply for a job?
Possibly I might be applying for a job, but that's irrelevant to my question. Why would you ask that question?
Well, enjoy the fair.
Okay.
Excuse me.
Excuse you?
Excuse me, sir.
So those of you that haven't
Wow.
been on a bike before,
Sheriff's getting a little too pushy. You work for us, Sheriff. Just keep that in mind. At one time we respected you, but not with that type of attitude.
Hey Charlotte County, this is Charlotte County COPWATCH, and I found that I had to make a change this ending on my videos, letting you know about the channel and fair use laws, you know, how we can report on other people's reporting and how it's good, how it's bad, etc. But you guys can look it up yourself. It is legal. It's in there. But like I've told you before, that I've been cut off from making money on YouTube for 4 years. It's really weird, bizarre, but they cut the money off, but they said you can keep the channel, and now YouTube makes all the money. And if you get bored, plug it into Social Blade website, and you'll see that they are making a huge amount off the site. Right now it's at 63 million views, 53,000 subscribers, almost 3 million views a month. You know, trying to wake people up, and I make nothing. In fact, I got a customer that's ex-congressman. He said if I could ever find a lawyer, sue YouTube on it. But because this is nuts. 4 hours a day, and to save America. You know, but at the same time, it's worth it. Look at what our founding fathers did. They died for this country. So, but getting back to the money part, this is why I'm redoing the video. Is my dream of everyone giving $1, and it's going to be $53,000 a year, or if they did Patreon, which you know, can be monthly. That is not working. That'd be great if it did. Nothing is perfect. And I appreciate the people that do donate, you know, what they can on PayPal. And there again, I'm letting you guys know that is not much. Is, you know, monthly is, oh my god. So anyways, yes, you cannot live on it. It's very, very, very low amount. But the dollar things, I do appreciate that. But when I first said everybody give $1, that's not working. I'm just letting you guys know it's, yeah, that dream. Everybody gives $1. 53,000 subscribers. It's not working. So yes, if you can give more than that, you know, I appreciate it. Like I said, you know, I'm in a unique situation where, you know what, we're already debt free, and I'm not rich, but with the little business that we have, I am able to do what I am able to do 45 hours a day, you know, letting you guys know what's going on. In 4 years, I've did the whole thing myself. 12,000 videos on there. I literally get emails where people are like, holy crap, I never knew it was this bad. And it is this bad, and it's getting worse every day because we have the internet, we have cell phones, we have cameras everywhere now, and it's just disgusting what's going on. And then, as you guys know too, now we got Trump, we got Jeff Sessions doing a war on drugs, and now he wants to go after the forfeiture laws again. It's just unfreaking real. So if you can give more than that dream of everybody giving $1, yeah, that old video, that's not working. They're not. They're just not. So anyways, if you can give more than that dream is not working. Hardly anybody is giving. There you go. So that's why I'm remaking the video. If you can give more than that would be great. And there again, like I said, the Patreon's there. There is some people on there that are starting to give, but there again, it's very, very low. And like I said, I don't want to get rich off of that. I'm going to keep doing what I'm doing because, you know, it's still so stinking corrupt. It's not even funny. My court case that I'm going to be paying out of my pocket myself with Charlotte County's coming up. They illegally looked me up and then posted all my information on LEOAFFAIRS website. They basically doxed me, however you want to say that. I forget what the word is, and they outed me, man. And that information on that site went out to 500 sheriffs, deputies, people that work at the jail, etc., etc., etc. So yeah, it is very, very scary, but we're going to do a federal case, 1983 case, violating freedom of speech. We have 17 cameras in the house now. We got 2 cameras in the car. I always carry a camera plus a cell phone. A lot of people are highly recommending I get a vest now. If I could, if the wife would let me, I would run for sheriff. We are trying to push the thing nationwide right now. Where just to mix it up and to get the topics out there is register to run for sheriff, NPA, no party affiliation, as a write-in, and that is completely free, and you can participate in the elections. And there's a lot of stuff. We got a guy, James Mclyans in Pinellas County, Tampa, who almost won. He experienced the corruption himself. The story is unbelievable. Look him up. It's mind-blowing what they did. It pissed him off. He is very, very smart. He has way more money than I did. He ran for sheriff at the last 3 months last year in 2016 and almost won. He got all of the black vote. And the reason why he did that is because he ran in, I will not bust, we're in Florida, I will not bust anybody for weed anymore unless it's an ungodly huge amount, like pounds. And then he also ran in no more victimless crimes, no more of this freaking road pirate bull crap. And then he was going to cut the budget by 30%. And when you think about that, you can. If you stop the road pirates, you can get rid of a bunch of people. Gone. So, the wife has been saying, yes, I can, yes, I can't. So I don't know. We're trying to find somebody that can do it because I am busy doing this anyways. But, so I'm making a video, like I said, that $1 a month from everybody, you know, for 53,000 subscribers, that is not working. I'm just letting you guys know. Absolutely give way more than $1 a month. If you can, I appreciate anything. By the way, remember too, when you give that, PayPal takes like freaking 15 to 20%, so it's even worse than that. But, and there again, like I'm letting you guys know, it's way, what I get is very, very low. Appreciate it, but it is very, very low. Can't live on it. I'm just, you know, I'm working, and that's what I'm working on. And that court case is going to cost a buttload of money. That's federal court. Just the filing fees and the depositions that we're going to be doing with this corrupt cop. So there's another reason to give. We are going to be doing a deposition with this very corrupt. He was in a drug squad. He is a bad guy. He's on steroids. We heard steroids are rampant here. That's why their attitude is so bad. And we are going to get him on video, and it will be on YouTube. So that case alone is $5,000 just to bring it to court, and that's my money out of my pocket. So there's another reason to give, and give way more than $1 if you can. So keep that in mind. This is the new video, and I see, God, I talk a lot. It's already 7 minutes, but had to make it just to let you know that $1 a month from everybody is not working. They're not doing it. So if you can give more than that, please. So thanks. Keep it up. Share, like, subscribe, tell your friends, send me your videos on corruption, and I'll post it.